What's up, folks? Welcome into Dogs. Oh, nope. Welcome in to the Power G Show live on a Thursday afternoon. I am Graham Coffey. That is George Foster, the Big G himself.
The Big G.
Regular size G. Big G. What you snacking on, big fella?
Some Imperial fruit and nut blend. Some nuts
that's
and
good.
berries here.
That's heart healthy. I like that.
Healthy snack.
I
can't say it's my thing all the time, but hey, I'm not opposed.
I mean, you don't want to crash out on the mic, so it's a good choice there. All right, so we're back, and man, I mean, it feels like this season's just clicking on. Here we are.
Man, I was just about to say, it's like it's running. Like this season is like running.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm curious to get your thoughts. So we've seen Georgia 5 times now. I am under the opinion that we still have not seen Georgia's defense play a game as good as they did against Clemson. Like, they missed 2 tackles in that whole game. They missed, 7 against Auburn. They missed 15 against Alabama. They missed 15 against Kentucky. What's going on there? I know that they kept Auburn out of the end zone, save for one play on Saturday. And they held Auburn to 13 points, which I would say before I criticize them, like Auburn came into that game 7th in the country in yards per play. Turnovers had been their bugaboo. They didn't turn the ball over. So in that sense, like Georgia did a good job of probably holding them, around into the teens. But what do you think about that side of the ball right now?
I don't think they haven't put it together just yet, man. They have some things to shore up. Like some of the edge stuff, some people are out of position. You know what I'm saying? That they're able to pop big plays. Like, and I know Hunter is good. He's one of the better backs in the league, but
Charquez,
yeah. But when he popped, I don't think he popped out some. Probably not so much under his own volition, but just people being out of place, missing tackles, things of that nature. They they do get paid too. Yeah, it's new age.
Oh, they're getting paid for sure. Ain't no doubt about that.
They're on scholarship too, but yeah, they get paid too. So yeah, man. They haven't put it together yet. On the flip side, they've managed to still remain a one-loss team. Could have easily been, worse or better. You know what I mean? So it's just depending on how you look at it. But yeah, like something. I think you hit the nail on the head. What they showed against Clemson is totally different from what I'm seeing now, especially since we know what Clemson can be.
Yeah.
Which what they did post Georgia game. You know what I mean?
They've been running through folks since that.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you really stopped a really, somewhat high-powered team, snuffed them out, left no doubt in the first game of the season, when that can go either way. First game of the season can go, like it did, or you can be like, hey, it's just the first game of the season. We'll get it together. No, they came out smoking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it seemed to have regressed since then. And I can't put my finger on why. So it's interesting. I'd be interested to see what you say.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I feel like people make a little too much of the outside runs thing. Georgia wants people to run outside on a certain level. And like in that game against Auburn, Georgia's DTs were moving Auburn's centers and guards every play. Like they kind of controlled the middle. So the reason that teams are running outside on Georgia is because they have to, because Miller and Stackhouse and Ingram Dawkins and those guys are holding it down. But what I didn't like about that play from Hunter, and it was a little bit of like not a trick play, so to speak, but like that play was designed really well in the sense that you had these guards pulling left and it looked like it was going to be, like outside power or something, or, that it was coming left. And it was really this like counter read thing that they were running that came back right. And so the linebackers bit down on that, which I don't have a problem with. What I had a problem with was out on the perimeter. Everyone was talking about Aguero missing that tackle. You go back and look at the replay. Aguero is getting held by the shoulder pads by the receiver the entire time. And he's fighting enough to fight through that hold and get into position to make a play and make some contact. His effort on that play was better than anyone else's around him. And that's what I found a little bit bothersome. Was the score's 14-3. It's the third quarter. Like, we're not into this point of the game yet where, like, I don't know, guys should be taking not plays off, but like not going 100% on every play. And I thought you saw some guys on that play who kind of were expecting someone else to make a play and we're waiting for someone else to make a play. And we're kind of jogging or not running full speed. And then Hunter hits the edge and he's gone because these guys were jogging full speed and that nobody's got an angle because they weren't moving full speed. So, yeah, man, I mean, I don't think Georgia's boundary corners in general, not even talking about that play, but in general, I don't think those guys play the run like they used to. We
don't have those guys right now.
Like Kamari
they better, yeah, man.
Yes, Keely,
we've had some dogs out there at corner before, like some real dudes, and I don't, 12 ain't that guy. He ain't that kind of guy. Sticks ain't that kind of guy. I like them as athletes in the pass game.
Six is doing a better job than anybody, but he's not that guy.
Yeah, they don't. You got to have that in you. You know what I mean? And so we're just at a position right now with guys that we don't quite have that at that position as we have in the past. Now, granted, like we've been spoiled. We've been spoiled. Like everybody doesn't. It comes a point. You're gonna go through a cycle where you don't have those guys. You know what I mean? So we're probably at a point right now where we don't have those guys, those straight up dogs on the outside that want to come up and hit something. You know what I mean? We just lost a few guys on the outside,
right,
and at safety that will come up and strike you. You know what I mean? We miss Tyke big time. We miss.
That's the other spot. I mean, like Aguero, you can see it with Aguero that he likes contact.
He's not scared at all. Aguero's not scared. But Tyke played a lot of football. Aguero hasn't played a lot of football. Tyke played all conference. He played all conference football before he got to Georgia.
Well, and Aguero even was injured for a lot of his last 2 years of high school. So, I mean, like he hasn't played a lot of football in general in a few years, but I appreciate his willingness. Yeah. But I think the thing about having him out there at star over the slot, right, is like, that he's maybe not going to be super comfortable in coverage 20, 30, 40 yards downfield. But what he's supposed to be is a guy who can thump. and who can hit and who can tackle soundly and get under blocks. And you look at Georgia's best defenses, the star position is always kind of like a catalyst for big plays, interceptions. Like that position needs to function at a high level for Georgia to create turnovers, in my opinion. And it's maybe not right now. And I look at it.
You go. Let me see what you was about to say.
Well, I look at it and I think if you're gonna have him out there, and you're gonna have the potential of what you saw on Saturday, where a slot receiver who's speedy is gonna beat him deep for a wide open touchdown. That kid just dropped the ball, but I mean, like he got beat. If you're gonna have him out there with that possibility on the table, then when it's a run play or there's a tackle to be made in his area of the field, he better be making it, But you can't be a liability at the thing that you're supposed to be good at.
Yeah, that's true. Here's the thing. When you haven't played a lot of football and you're thrust into big time football, it's literally a game of inches, and not so much the inches that you give up. It's just being a step late. You know what I mean? Or a hair late, or a hair late in your recognition, a hair late in your diagnosis. It's just, I'm sure the kid wants to be what we expect him to be. You know what I mean? We know he can thump. That was his calling card when he got to Georgia. You know what I mean? When we recruited him. And so I have no doubt that he'll be what he's supposed to be. It's just right now, he's having growing pains right now. He's having his growing pains. And luckily so far we're able to deal with him. You know what I mean? So I imagine he gets better as the season goes on. I just hope these corners can get better as the season goes on too, so we can, count on them in the run game.
Yeah, well, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on these guys in the passing game. I thought there were some miscommunications and some mistakes on the opening drive that got fixed. There was like a 2nd and 18 play where there were 3 guys around a receiver and all of them were past the sticks. And I was like, I don't think that's how you play zone. Maybe I'm wrong, but like I do worry a little bit for Georgia that like teams are completing passes at a pretty high rate against this defense right now. And I know that, like Milroe, he carved them up, right? I mean, like he was an 80-something% passer in that game, right? What was the stat line? Let's see.
I don't know.
27 to 33. 27 to 33.
He had he had a very efficient game. I said that
Milroe goes.
I said that during the game that he hasn't had. At one point, it was late. It was in the 4th quarter. He hadn't had a bad play.
Yeah, Milroe goes 27 to 33, and then Peyton Thorne 16 to 27. But there was a point in that game where he was like, I don't know, completing about 75% of his passes into the late 3rd, early 4th quarter. What I see with Everett, to be truthful with you, is just that, it seems like a lot of teams are working him on some of these comeback routes. I don't know what the game plan is, so to speak, right? Or like what Georgia wants him to do in terms of, hey, this is where we expect him to be. But it does seem like a lot of teams have kind of noticed that they're just kind of able to just work these like 12-yard kind of comeback routes on the boundary. And just kind of keep doing stuff like that and play underneath. And Georgia's not really challenging that. Now, I get that if you sit on those routes too much, you get trouble. Like you're going to get double moves or you're going to get burnt downfield. But I mean, so far this year, man, Everett has been targeted 19 times and he has allowed 17 receptions. Like that is not a great rate for a number one corner.
No. And
you got Humphreys, similar, like all these guys, are kind of giving up a real high target to reception ratio. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We might have to, and I'm sure coach is looking at it. But one, we have to have guys to push them,
But they do. They got Ellis.
We had on paper, we have the guys to push them. I don't know what practice is showing. I don't know what, I don't know anything. What I'm seeing on the film though is that, Everett, to me, he seems like he doesn't have any confidence. He doesn't have that dog in him. He doesn't have he's not very instinctive. At first, early on in his tenure there, I figured he was probably I figured he was having those Tyson Campbell issues there, but can't make the play.
Yeah.
But he's not Tyson Campbell. You know what I mean?
No, he is not. He's not Tyson Campbell.
He's not Tyson Campbell. You know what I mean? I thought the potential was there. Just a guy that's there, can't make the play. But I don't think this kid has it. I don't think he has that dog and that instinct to make plays. Like you can tell, like some corners just got it.
Yeah.
They're sticky. It ain't got nothing to, yes, you want technically sound corners. You want guys that are coachable, this, that, and the other. But I've cut on film before, and it's just guys, you can tell that it ain't about any of that. It's that they were born to play corner. They're just sticky. They have those they're very instinctive. They know how to play the routes. They know how to play, even if they don't play the ball in the air the greatest, they just know how to be there. You know what I mean? And
sure.
he's not that type of kid, at least not just yet. And of course, he is what he is at this point. Almost not. I won't give him 100%, but he's almost a finished product. You know what I mean?
Well, and yeah.
And you want better from him with route recognition. You want better. You want him to play the ball better, and you want him. He's not the. He's not a letdown in the run game. But you want. You want those dudes out there.
I think he's been the best in the run game of all these boundary guys. But I'll be honest, man. Yeah, I just feel like you see this with young corners a lot, where these guys come out early and they aren't quite confident enough to get their head around. Like they know the ball's in the air, but they're afraid if I flip my hips, then I'm going to lose this guy. I'm going to miss the ball. I'm going to lose this guy. He's going to catch it. He's going to run for a touchdown. So
you can't be scared.
They're more worried about making the tackle than they are breaking up the pass. And that's what I see with Georgia's corners a lot right now. And look, at the end of the day, like, go catch the football. Go, like Malachi is a safety. You watch the way he plays the football when he can get into position, like the way he flips his hips and goes up for it. Like,
yeah.
And you're not seeing that on the boundary right now. I mean, Humphrey, that final play against Alabama with the Ryan Williams touchdown, it's not like he got beat. He didn't just get beat by Williams downfield. He was right there. If anything, he overran the play. So it's not that these guys lack they all have the measurables. They all have the 40 times. They all have all that, but they're not flipping their hips. They're not getting their head around. And I want to see somebody that will, because like Ellis Robinson, I covered, I know well. I watched him a lot as a recruit. I watched him go up against Jeremiah Smith out at the OT7 in California 2 summers ago. And I watched him, not shut him down, but I watched him hold him to like 2 catches for minimal yardage. I watched him go and like make one of the craziest interceptions I've ever seen in my life in coverage on a wide receiver who right now we're talking about is he maybe not just the best freshman receiver in the country? Is he maybe one of the best receivers in all of college football? Like,
he may be Blittenhouse.
Yeah. I mean, like, I talked to somebody a couple nights ago that, was down in Florida with him when he was doing some training at a high school, and he was training with some like pro players, like NFL players. And he was giving work to some NFL corners as like a 17-year-old. I mean, that kid might be one of those few like who probably could be drafted as a 19-year-old.
Oh yeah, he shouldn't. It's like Ohio State they're lucky that they have him 2 more years.
Oh yeah,
because he doesn't need 2 more years.
Yeah,
he's one of those rare air guys.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess my point in saying all that is like, I know Ellis has the stuff, and I like what we see from Daniel Harris too, frankly. I think that of all these guys out there, I think he's imposing. I think his frame, 6'2", 200 plus pounds now. Like, he's up to 207 and he's running, high 4.4s, low 4.5s. Like, give me that all day and I can figure stuff out. So, point being in all that is like, Texas is going to test you downfield in a week, and you better figure the shit out, because if you don't, your season's going to slip away from you real quick. And let's talk about the other side of the ball real quick. Like, offense, people are not going to like this take, but I actually thought that Saturday was probably the most encouraging performance we've seen from Georgia's offense yet, because they stayed on schedule. They stayed ahead of the chains on first and second downs. They did not – the game did not come down to Beck having to bail everybody out on 3rd and 8. The game came down to running the football, converting 3rd and 1s and things like that, and short yardage. From a success rate standpoint, which is just an efficiency metric that I like to look at, this was by far Georgia's best performance of the year. And look, Auburn's defense is not – they ain't the 85 Bears, but they are pretty damn good. You go look at what they did to some of the teams they've played. Like, they had not given up 30 in any game this year. Cal put 38 on Miami. They, kind of held them to 21, and they've done that while being -2, -3, -4 in the turnover column some weeks. So I don't think that Auburn defense is a bad unit. I don't think they're a great unit, and I thought they had some weaknesses in the secondary that Georgia maybe didn't fully take advantage of. But I want to talk about what's going on at right tackle, and how you feel about that as a man who knows a lot more about offensive line play than I do.
Yeah. It's we gotta have I think I said it the other day, we gotta have a discussion about 73.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
Yeah, he's just not it. You know what I mean? It's what year is this? 6?
Yeah.
Is this year 6?
It's year 6.
You don't find many 6-year tackles at premier schools. Not starting. You know what I mean? So, that tells you right there. That was an original take by me. Somebody mentioned that online, And I agree. You just don't. That doesn't happen at a Georgia. Like we got
right.
is I just watched tackles play this past Sunday from Georgia. I'm watching Broderick. I'm watching Amarius. I'm watching like those. That's the type of guys you have that come through Georgia. Having to put him out there at right tackle is that's kind of concerning, especially when he's showing you that he isn't it. You know what I mean? So
What?
I think they need to consider other options and just see how it goes. Because I don't think anybody will do worse, so to speak, and maybe he can slide in the guard or something. He
Well,
doesn't
what'd you
have
think about? I thought maybe Georgia's best offensive lineup of the game was where they had Green at left tackle, Fairchild at left guard, Bobo at center with Wilson out, and then you had Truss at right guard and Freeling at right tackle, 57, the white kid. Like, what was your, I mean, I know that was late in the game, but it seemed like those guys were finishing runs downfield in zone, and I liked, what we saw. They got some good stuff.
Yeah, I think that could work out. I think Freeling just needs some more reps. You know what I mean? I think he had some reps where he could finish better, not from an effort standpoint, but just from a technical standpoint. Yeah, I think Trust just don't have it out there. He's a long linear guy, that doesn't move. He's not very agile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he gets
It's
he gets turned around and out there. It's not the place for him. He's one of those rare cats that, looks like a basketball player, doesn't move like a basketball player. You know what I mean? And so those guys, sometimes you can slide them in there in guard, especially in college, and it works out because he has knowledge of the system, and he's played it before. You know what I mean? So I'd rather that scenario if Freeland can hold up, you know what I mean? I'd rather that scenario than what we've been dealing with because like Trust hasn't been good at tackle.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think that's the
yeah he has
want. Yeah,
he hasn't been good at tackle. So I don't know what we got in the room. You know what I mean? I feel like we've been recruiting pretty well, supposedly. On their line, but maybe they're not ready. Maybe
Look, I'll tell you this: Daniel Calhoun, the kid from Walton.
Yeah, the big fella.
I talked to somebody that was at the Tuesday practice, the full padded, full contact practice, the Tuesday before Bama, and they were like, "That kid." This is actually funny because you'll understand why in a second. But they were like, "That kid is a moose. Like he is bigger than everybody else, but he's not slower than anybody else. Like he's out there at like 340, George, moving folks." And I'll be honest, man, I feel like in general, it's hard for Georgia because they haven't really had these blowout games. Like they've really only had one opponent that they've played.
Yeah.
Was a cupcake. But I want to see some of these young guys, I mean, like there's some old guys that I feel like you remember Warren Erickson.
I think they're scared. I think they're just scared. Yeah. They're just, and I get it. Like you're a contender. You don't want to slip up. Every game counts.
Scorty got beat, It's not like it's working. Like I understand if it's working, don't fix it. But it's not like it is worked to some degree where it's just like, well,
I agree.
High floor.
I agree. Sometimes you have to throw the baby in the water and let them swim. You know what I mean? because you got some big physical, strong kids out there that you never know. You might just have your next dude. You know, the light turns
Some
on for
guys
some
are
guys.
gamers. Some
Yes, the
guys, you
light.
put them out there, they're good.
Some guys you're gonna put out there, and I don't say this in a crippling way. I say this in a way that you're gonna put some guys out there, and they're gonna be so focused and so scared to mess up that they play great.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It happens. Look, you know. So you're gonna throw some guys out there, and the moment's gonna be too big. We get it, and you can figure that out quick, especially at a position like tackle. You'll know fast if the lights are too bright. You'll know fast, and you'll be able to make adjustments. You know what I mean? But at some point you have to try these guys. Same thing with like Ellis Robinson. Like you said, you know, some guys you're just gonna have to, you know, thrust them in there and and see what they do. Awesome Bert in the chat says you guys are being kind. What do you want us to say, Bert? What do you want us to say, Bert? I've kept it like I'm not gonna
No,
I'm
you're
not gonna
keeping it a
trash the
buck. You're
guy.
keeping it
I've said
100.
it
Yeah.
exactly how it is. I've said trust is not it at right tackle for Georgia. I'm not gonna say not much else. The kid has 2 rings. You know, he's played his part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like he's not a throwaway. He's just not he's not a starting right tackle for big time football. And so we need to, you know, if we're gonna, you know, compete for a championship, which every goal is still on the table. You know what I mean?
I remember back in 2021, Georgia started Warren Erickson from game 1 on, and he struggled throughout. You know, like he struggled, and it was kind of there was a lot of missed assignments and things, and a lot of broken plays. And then they get to the national title game, and they move Jamari Sawyer to right guard, and they, you know, shift things outside of the tackles, and like boom, everything starts working. That's when James Cook goes and hits his 60-something yard, you know, run that kind of flipped the whole face of that game. So, point being, I don't know why we have to kind of carry the charade on. Like, my opinion after the Bama game was this loss can be a good thing if it puts the right butts in the right seats. And I don't know that as we look back after the Auburn game that the right butts are in the right seats yet. And you get another one tomorrow against Mississippi State, or on Saturday against Mississippi State, I should say, that will be good. You know, that will like kind of get things going. But I don't know. I question whether there's not some of these young guys that could do a better job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. You know what I mean? I think we're in a tough spot where we're not in panic mode. And I think the average fan, including us, we want them to be in panic mode and fix it now and things like that. And although no staff and no coach and no program is infallible, we kind of, I know at least me, I kind of, even when I don't agree with some things, I kind of trust this staff because of their track record. And so it's kind of like, man, I wish they would do X, Y, Z. But then it's like, man, I wish they would do X, Y, Z, but okay, if they want to do it this way, I trust you, you know. So it's kind of it's a conundrum of sorts, you know, from a fan perspective. And probably from their perspective too. It's kind of like what do they do? Like what, you know, for all we know, we don't know if, you know, we don't know if these kids that are amazing, you know, players, athletes have been messing up blitz pickup.
I'm sure they have.
And it's kind of like, but it's kind of like you see a kid like our offense changes when 3 is in the backfield. Like something like there's juice. There's juice. He's just different. He's not,
right.
He's he sees things different than the other cats. He knows when to hit it. He just has it. You know what I mean? And he may be lacking in some other areas. He might be like, I don't know how he's doing in pass pro and in
I mean,
practice.
I can tell you, I will say it now because I'm tired of people talking about it. So I'm just gonna say it. Sorry, real quick. I can tell you the week of that Alabama game, he was struggling with ball security in practice.
And you can't put him out there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, that part I get. And the reality, as we sit here and bitch about these personnel decisions, is there's probably something like that for all these guys that we don't know. But goddamn it, I want to see the talented dudes go play. Give me the high ceiling and I'll deal with the floor.
I'll get it. I get it. I understand. Like I think Georgia is in a position to I guess kind of afford that. I hope this weekend they can get things clicking early and we can see what these youngsters can do. You know what I mean? We figured out that we might want to play 7. We figured out, offense or 7 on offense. We figured out that he's probably our number 1 tight end.
Totally.
You know what I mean? We figured that out. And so like I think we can do that at a few other positions. You know what I mean?
No, I think you can for sure. And I think that, that's exactly what I'm talking about is like Oscar has done some really nice things in his career, and I don't, but it seems like they're, what's interesting is I've been at all Kirby's press conferences for the last few weeks and he keeps talking about, cutting it loose. And somebody finally asked him, well, what do you mean by that? And his answer was play without anxiety, and it seems like you can tell some of these guys are kind of playing like, oh, now I'm on the number 1 team or the number 1 program in the country and I'm the guy now and everyone's kind of looking at me. And that's a different experience than coming in as kind of a role player for 20, 30 snaps a game. And all of a sudden I just pop out and nobody's covering me because I'm not 19. I mean, what do you think about this tight end room in general? Because like, I like what Lawson Lucky brings. I think he's the most explosive that we've seen so far. I think his blocking has been at least serviceable. I did think, though, Auburn game was the best game we've seen from Urasic. He actually did some nice things as a blocker, and that, Delp did some nice things blocking too. But I just don't understand exactly what's going on with Oscar in the passing game this year. You're on mute. Oh,
so you might have the yips. I don't know. I thought he would. I think everybody expected him to ascend after Brock left to be an NFL type guy. Urasic was looked at the same way when he got here, and what I've seen from like pre-draft stuff and all that stuff, like we pretty much were supposed to have a room full of NFL tight ends, and only one has been playing, to that level yet. So it'd be interesting to see how they go moving forward. I think these guys, we probably at Georgia get more guys than not that have the makeup to, try to fix these things. But we'll see if that room is it. But I've definitely expected more out of that room than we've gotten so far as a collective.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's we got a comment here in the chat of like, we have seen video evidence that Urasic is, I'm assuming, is good as a receiver is what you're trying to say. And I agree. Like we did see that. And we
Yeah,
saw.
see, but here's the thing with that. You don't have that, we don't you're not just gonna be a F guy at Georgia.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We need you're gonna be a F, a Y, a H. You're gonna be all of that at Georgia at that position. And so you better embrace it. Because we're not just throwing guys out there, you know, just to be F guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to be like it's in the past. Like Brock had to be in line and get his
like
butt
half of
whooped.
his snaps.
Yeah,
He's the best receiving tight end in college football history, and he had to block about half the time.
He got his butt whooped sometimes. You have to line up and do it. You know what I mean? And I don't think Urosky had to deal with that before at Stanford.
No,
I think he's understanding now that one, this is the SEC, and two, this is what is asked of me. So I better accept it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what does he have left. What does he have left as far as
Urosky? This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
Okay.
This is it.
I was about to say because it's if we hold on to him, it's some youngsters, some talented youngsters coming into that program at that position.
Yeah. Oh, Williams and Barber, bro. You got 6'7", 245, making athletic.
It's
and
some
then
dude.
Barber.
Look,
our buddy Trey calls Barber the Black Brock Bowers. We'll see.
We'll see. That's high. That's high.
Yeah,
praise.
but I'll say this, man. He's one of the few tight ends. I mean, I was watching the game that Milton had against one of those big Florida programs. It was like a top 25 matchup, and game was on the line. 3rd and 2, late fourth quarter, and Milton needed a conversion, and they just brought him little drag out into the flat, toss it to him, took off for like a 65-yard touchdown, bro. Ran past everybody. D1 prospects all over the field. Yeah, so he's good. The thing I will say, I agree with you, BD. I thought Georgia would be the best defense in the country after Clemson as well. After that game, I was like, bro, they got that outside run thing figured out. These linebackers are seeing everything. They're hitting everything. Like, they're moving. And it just hasn't felt – it's just felt a little constipated since then in a weird way.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I do know from a Georgia offensive standpoint, like, there were a couple plays in that game plan on Saturday that I was kind of tipped off about of like, they might do this or that. Like, they got kind of this schemed up or that dialed up. And I never saw those plays come out on the field because I don't think Georgia really felt like they needed them. And I think that's a good thing in the sense that, like, I do think Mike Bobo is doing a decent job from a design standpoint of this offense. People don't like to hear that, but
people have to.
Bobo's game plan against Alabama was not the problem. The offense wasn't the one that had to adjust at halftime. It really wasn't.
Yeah,
at least schematic.
Now, dudes. The only issue I had versus Bama is the plays where it looked like where they was dropping 7-8 guys, and we still wanted to pass into it,
throw into it over the middle.
Yeah, when they were vulnerable for the run to the run in general. Anyway, Bama was not.
No, they're not a good run.
They were. The run was there to be had, and I felt like we felt like. I still think there were moments in that game where we were down, where we still could have ran the ball. Just
I agree.
Just because defense figured it out early. We got down early, but I think defense showed that, okay, I think we can run the ball some. Defense will get us the ball back. But yeah, in general, listen, man, people like to rag on Bobo. At the end of the day, players got to play.
Absolutely.
Players got to play. Yeah. Make a play. break a tackle, catch the ball, go where you're supposed to go. O-line, block who you're supposed to block. Quit getting whooped up front. On the outside, make some plays, catch the ball, break some tackles.
Right.
I can't recall
it's simple.
one man.
It's simple.
I can't recall one guy bringing down Brock Bowers. It didn't happen.
No.
You better get 2 on him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, yes, he's a freak, but we got some guys out there that need to make some plays too. You're not.
No, for sure. I mean,
make some plays.
That is what it's all about, though, dude. I mean, the game is about blocking and tackling, and Bobo has done a pretty good job of putting his guys in space one-on-one on a lot of occasions, and they haven't made that one-man miss that would turn it into a big play. So
simple as that. Like the only explosive guy I've seen making guys miss is number 1. Number 1 will make you miss. I like number 1. I want him in space.
That dude.
He's the dude, and he showed me he's physical too.
He's
on that goal line. I thought he got in.
I
thought he got in, but he obviously didn't. But he dropped that hammer on. He dropped the hammer on that guy for Auburn. I was like, ooh, wee up that sideline. It would have been if he had a guy in the end zone. That would have topped it off. You know what I mean? And he got in the end zone the next. Wound up with the next couple plays, and he had to show show that bully in him too. But I like what he's doing. But everybody else on the outside, they're not making those plays this year. So we need some more of those. We need the extraordinary. Yeah. Sometimes it's gonna take the extraordinary. And the only person that has been extraordinary at times has been number 1 in my book, and 3 when he's gotten the opportunity.
3,
but 3 and 1 and 3, but we need more than that.
My guy, 16. 16's been pretty.
But we haven't been able to really get him going like that, lately.
All right, Georgia, Mississippi State. We don't have to really break this one down. Georgia's a almost 5 touchdown favorite, but I do need a prediction from you, sir.
1,000,000 to 1. No. Yeah, Georgia. Hopefully they can get it going, man. Again, I'm gonna say 45 to 13.
All right. So you got Mississippi State cover in there. Okay. Look, man, this secondary is food. This is a get right game for Georgia, dude. I don't want to see them mess around. Mississippi State is one of the worst teams in the country in terms of first half scoring allowed. They are allowing 20.8 a game on average in first halves, which is 126 nationally. Georgia, they got a shot here to just get off the schneid, get some good things going quick, rest your guys by the mid-third quarter and third quarter.
They're going to play some. They're going to play some youngsters. So
yeah, get to Austin. But yeah, I got them. I think you're going to have a big game from Lucky. I think you're going to have a big game from Humphreys as well, 16. And I also think that we'll have a pretty big game from Nate Frazier. I think they'll want to kind of get him some touches and keep ETN's touches down a little bit in this one.
Yeah.
So I got Georgia 48, Mississippi State 10.
Gotcha.
God, this guy's a sicko. 15-2, Georgia. Is your prediction.
He's nuts. Let's get him off the chat.
What is this? Ragoff era? What you got any thought? There's a lot of good games this weekend. Texas, Oklahoma. You got Tennessee, Florida, Ohio State, Oregon is the big prime time. Anything you got? on your mind, or that you're
Oklahoma is going to upset Texas.
There you go. I don't know if they're going to upset them, but they're a 14-point dog, and that game is always, I feel like,
that's an upset.
Well, there was no. It's a huge upset if they won. Yeah,
I'm saying, you mean you don't know if they're going to win? Yeah, okay, yeah, it would be upset if they won.
I think they'll hang tough though. I'm really interested in how Tennessee Florida plays out, man.
It's going to be
Tennessee
interesting.
did not look good last week, and
no. Once you figure out the gimmicks, man, you stop their run game. They kind of once you figure out the gimmicks, man, and stop their run game. It's kind of like they don't have.
Vols are a 14.5-point favorite right now. I'm probably we haven't talked about this publicly. Yeah, I'm probably gonna be on Florida there because they're just kind of sneaking around over there, but like the vibes have gotten a lot better. They got Lagway involved. I'll regret, I don't think they'll win, but I think they'll cover 14.5. It might be by half a point, but I just think Tennessee is in a fragile mental state. And if something goes bad for them in this game, I don't know that they'll just kind of hop off the mat the way that a good team would. Because I don't know that they're that good of a football team, honestly. I've never bought the Nico hype on the level that some have. And you look at that kid, he doesn't really see zone that well, and he doesn't really see passes first read that well. So we'll see. But yeah, I think you'll have a fun game to watch. Ohio State, Oregon. I think everyone's gonna be picking the Buckeyes. I got Dan Lanning at home, knocking them off. I still think Ohio State will be there in the end of the season, but they haven't played anybody at all yet this year. And I just think Oregon has been in some kind of close games early and kind of figured some stuff out, and they look good. So give me the Ducks at home, but I think those two will play again in the Big Ten championship.
The Ducks have played well versus them lately.
They always have. They really always have, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
This is a great comment in the chat on Nico. Apparently, you've never seen him play volleyball.
Hey, I got my daughter's into volleyball, so I have interest in it. That kid can hop.
6'7".
He can hop. I'm talking about he's punishing that ball in volleyball.
Oh, he's an incredible athlete. No doubt about that.
Haven't heard much about volleyball players in football since. What was the kid? Back when we were, I'm talking about when we were growing up. I'm probably 10 years older than you, but when I was in school, or when I was in high school, there was a volleyball player for UCLA. I forgot his name, but he played receiver. Man, I forgot that dude's name. But
I got no idea, to be honest with you.
Man, that's gonna
got
hurt
me on that one.
Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can do one of my searches.
You gotta find it before we end the stream. You can't leave everybody hanging like this.
Hold on. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna find it.
All right. While we're here, I'll give folks a little. So, George, one thing that you should know is that I had money line tickets on both Arkansas and Alabama on Saturday. I'm sorry. I +9.
Hold on. Okay. You went out. So what you saying now?
I bet Vandy to win straight up against Alabama last week, and they did.
What?
And my payoff was over 9 times a return on the dollars that I bet. Now, I wasn't like the biggest bet of my life by any means, but felt pretty good.
Heck yeah, I bet it felt pretty good. Man, that's crazy. Hold on. Danny Farmer.
Oh, we got Chase. Our friend Chase Thomas is in the chat. No. Oh, Danny Farmer. I do remember Danny Farmer. He could play.
Danny Farmer? Yeah, he could play. That was, he wasn't a thrower. He was a good football player. But he played volleyball.
He was a good football player. Yeah, him and Cade McNown.
Yep.
Cade McNown was the quarterback back then. They had what's his face? What was that coach? Was it Bob Toledo? Bob Toledo.
Was it Bob Toledo back then?
I think so.
I remember them. I remember when they had to play Miami, and Edge ran all over them back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
That was like
it was one Robert Anthony Toledo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was their big kind of coming out party. They got good. Kept UCLA out of the national title.
Danny Farmer excelled in both the gridiron and football field. That is Danny Farmer right there. I don't know if you can see it, man.
There you go.
I don't know. It doesn't show up.
That's good Farmer. Stuff, though. I see his face, kind of.
Yeah. Danny.
Who you got in Ole Miss LSU?
Ole Miss LSU, and it's at LSU.
Yep.
I
3.5 point.
I know this because my daughter goes to LSU and it's homecoming, so she's been preparing herself for all festivities and outfits and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so LSU I think LSU been at home, and I think they've settled in quietly. You know what I mean? They haven't.
I do too.
Ever
since halftime at South Carolina.
Yeah, they've settled in quietly, and they're sneaky. They could be sneaky. They could be sneaky. So I think LSU wins this weekend. But just on a bigger picture, contending nationally, I don't know, but I think they've done a good job of just laying low and just getting the wins and just laying low. And we'll see how they pan out as the season goes. But how many losses do they have? They have
LSU still has the one against USC in the opener.
Yeah,
I got LSU. Yeah, I think LSU is gonna go and you give me LSU at home. It's hard to pick against them, but I just think this is kind of a perfect spot for them. They're coming off a bye. They're an underdog at home. We love betting home underdogs here on the Power G show. So give it to me. I'll take LSU. Just don't worry about the points. Just take them straight up. It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
you heard it from Graham, the big dog from last weekend.
I'm gonna go spin my Vandy bucks down at Walmart
get you some good some canes. Get some Raisin Canes. And,
hell yeah.
Take
the missus to Outback.
Take the missus to Outback on Outback, and that's what street is that? That's is that Baxter? Is it way out there?
It's out on the Atlanta Highway, isn't it?
No. This is what you need to do.
Take
the missus to Inoko Express.
Oh shit!
Her extra sauce. Get her some extra sauce. Get her chicken and steak.
And shrimp.
Hook her up. I love it. Like I got sad last time I was in not the last time, but somewhere soon. And one of the last times that I was in Athens, and I went over to Inoko and it was closed.
Oh, bummer.
I was
when sad. I was in college, Inoko on Sundays. They used to, bars aren't open on Sundays, but Inoko is open on Sundays, and they would do the half off sake and half off pretty much everything, I think, on Sundays. So go up there at like 5:30 on a Sunday.
Ooh, that's nice right there.
Hammered. Yeah, dude. Hammered and then soak up all the alcohol with that that
rice
fried,
and the
you know,
sauce.
the rice and the steak and the white sauce and
I
all that
love
shit.
that place. That was my
It's
spot.
good stuff. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. You're right, sir. That is a Longhorn on the Atlanta Highway. That actually is a pretty decent Longhorn too. I ate there last fall and it was surprisingly good. Not that Longhorn's bad in general, but like sometimes experience varies from
It
location to
varies.
location.
It varies. It can be solid though.
Yeah, it was. It was solid. It was good. All right, brother. Well, you have a good weekend. Are you going to the game?
I'm exploring that right now. Might take my youngest daughter up there, but we'll see.
Right on. Well, let me know if you're in town, and I will be in Austin. You will be in Austin. Real quick before we close out, we're gonna do a little Dog Central happy hour in Austin. 3 to 5 or 4 to 6. I'm in the process of locking that down right now, but y'all come join us, and it's at the I think it's right off campus. I'll share it on Twitter and on the website and all that stuff. But if you are a Dog Central subscriber, we'll buy your beer. You know, well, even if you're not, we might still buy your beer. But we'll have our good friends at Home Field Apparel, who are an excellent supporter of everything that we do. They'll have a little tab rolling. We'll have some food. We'll have some beer for you guys, and just good times. And hang on the patio on a fall afternoon down in Austin, and then we'll go watch Dogs and Horns the next night. So y'all be well. Enjoy the games this weekend. If you're in Athens and you run into us, say hello. We'd love to talk to you. Until then, see you.
Peace.